A very good evening, dear listeners. A warm welcome to a monthly edition of our live Radio Bridge program, which goes out on the first Friday of every month. This program gives us a platform to share, to connect, and to discuss on relevant issues across the Northeast. You're with me, your host, Dr. Bonnie Nicol, to moderate this evening's discussion. Well, listeners, in our live Radio Bridge program this evening, you will be listening to a very relevant and important topic of discussion, that is e-governance in the Northeast. We have panelists representing some of the Northeast states. Let me take this time to introduce them to you all. Right here beside me in the studios is Mr. Timothy Dakar, who is the DDG, National Information Center, Shillong. Good evening, Mr. Dakar, and welcome to our studios. From Guwahati, we have Mr. Sanjeev Sarma, General Manager, Amtron Guwahati. Hello and good evening, Mr. Sanjeev.
Good evening,
Mr. Haubam Joyrimba, who is the Managing Director, Cube 10 Technologies Private Limited, Imphal. And Nagaland, Kohima, we have Mr. Imphal Gikon, Senior Consultant, Department of Information Technology and Common Government of Nagaland, Kohima. We welcome all our panelists and look forward to a very interesting and fruitful deliberation as you share your expertise through the interactions. Well, e-governance is the application of communication and information technology for providing government services, exchange of information, transactions, integration of, many existing services and information portals. This discussion will also highlight on the efforts of some leading e-governance institutions in promoting rural development as well in the Northeast region. That is what we are concerned about in this evening's discussion, especially Assam, Meghalaya and Tripura. And we will also get an overall view including the challenges and the remedies that we have concerning e-governance. Well, shall we begin our discussion by briefing our listeners, because I'm sure there's a section of people out there listening who would like to know on the concept of e-governance. And for this, I would ask Mr. Dakar, who is with me in the studios, to just brief us a little on the concept of e-governance.
The concept of e-governance is to provide better delivery systems of the government services to the citizens. Actually, you can think about this delivery system which we are talking about maybe 20 years back compared to the delivery system which we have now in the government. It has improved a lot is because of the e-governance. E-governance, like what you said, that is about the electronic governance and the use of the communication, the network, the computer devices together to provide these services to the citizens. So in a nutshell, it is about how to promote good governance in the country. So this is a very important, because when we talk about good governance, it's about to remove corruption, to bring transparency, to increase convenience of the people, because they can access the portal, they can access the services of the government sitting at home. So these are the things which are involved about the concept of e-governance.
So we can just sum up very quickly saying the 3 E's, easy, effective and maybe economical. That's what e-governance will always look at. Let's move on to the other states and see who is online with us. From Guwahati here, Mr. Sanjeev, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Hello.
Let me brief about the activities that the government of Assam had initiated in the past 10 years. As Mr. Timothy had already indicated, for good governance, you need actually 3 things: people, process and technology. About 20 years back, we had probably the preliminary technology, but the processes were not in place. The process means there are some frameworks, some rules, some regulations, some acts, which gives authenticity as far as electronic transactions, movements of data and things like that. Luckily for us, IT Act 2000 had given us that freedom now. And in Assam, actually, like in all other states, the initiatives were taken from the National E-Governance Plan in 2004 and 5. We started building the backbone, the digital highway. That was the statewide area network. We have about 304 points of presence through which the different offices gets connected on a OFC fiber backbone. Then the next point was the service delivery point, where citizens can go and seek services. So in terms of service delivery, we had these common service centers. The state had about 3,800. As of now, I think about 1,700 are functional in the state, and they are doing a yeoman service, providing very transparent and effective manner.
All right, Mr. Sarma, we'll come back to you. Let's hear from Mr. Joyremba.
Good evening, all the panel members.
Yes, so how is Imphal doing when it comes to e-governance, the implementation
Imphal
aspect?
and Manipur is doing quite well in terms of e-governance. Basically, we have a number of services, and as just like the other states of Northeast, you have the Common Service Center, you have the State Data Center, you have the Statewide Area Network, which we call it the SWAN, and there is another big service that is being used by the citizens of Manipur, which is called the e-district services. So this e-district services has around 9 departments which has been taken up, and we have around some 35 online services being delivered to the citizens. So these services includes domicile certificates, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes certificate, employment exchanges, scholarships. So you have this ample number of online services being provided to the citizens of Manipur. So I think Manipur is doing quite well in terms of delivering services to the citizens through the e-governance portals that we have. And we have around some 900 numbers of common service centers, which basically are helping a lot. Say, for example, people who are in remote places, even though the government may be providing online services, these people might not be aware and might not be able to handle the systems and mobile applications and portals. This common service centers plays a very important role in making use of the e-services that is being provided
indeed
by
does.
government.
The concept of e-district, sounds very interesting, and I'm sure many of the northeastern states would always like to adopt that concept, the e-district.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to Nagaland now?
Yes. Hi, this is Jan here. So,
yes, could you just tell us a little about Nagaland when it comes to e-governance?
So when it comes to e-governance, Nagaland has come a long way. We all started with the National E-Governance Plan, which my other friends from all the other states have mentioned about the basic infrastructure in terms of the SWAN, the e-district, and also the common service centers, which allows these people in the rural villages and the remote areas to access government services without having to physically visit the office. They save a lot of money, a lot of time, and also on the part of the government, they are able to deliver the services in a transparent, efficient, easy, economic manner. So that has benefited the citizens a lot. When it comes to Nagaland, we have the e-district in place. We have integrated with the national app called Umang. We have about 302 common service centers which are operational. We also have the state portal from where the NPSC, Nagaland Public Service Commission, the entire process is online. Any candidate who wants to apply for the state services, they don't need to visit the office. They can sit at home, they can log in, they can do the payment online. They'll get the admit cards, and then they just need to go and sit for the exams. Yes, so these are some of the few initiatives.
So I think it's very people-friendly. All right, again, coming back to Mr. Dakar, who's with me in the studios. What about the scenario in Meghalaya?
The same thing which is happening in the other part of the states in the northeast. We are doing the same thing, like the e-district, the project which we implemented in Meghalaya. We call it the end-to-end solution. Like the people sitting at home, they apply online and they get the certificate, a digital certificate online, where the deputy commissioner or the ADM or ADC, they sign it through a digital signature and it delivered directly to their emails online. So in a similar way, we are doing all these services, and like what Nagaland also is doing for the Nagaland Service Commission. Here also the same thing we are doing for the MPSC. Like the student or the job seeker, they can apply online and they can get their admit card online. And the entire, you can say, like the process of computerization in the MPSC also, it is online.
What about other things that people could access to?
See, actually, if you look at the newspaper yesterday, you could have seen that Tribal Chief Minister, Mr. Conrad Sangma, he launched the DPT portals for Meghalaya. All the pension schemes of the people who are getting it from the government of India through the NSAP, it is online in our state. So the people, they will get the pension benefits straight to their account on, you can say, like on every first of the month. So this is one of the achievement, you can say, of the state, because normally this pension scheme takes some time for the government to process, and it delays by 3 months to 6 months, or sometimes even 1 or 2 years, because they are not getting the fund from the center. But by doing online, you can say through DBT, it will go by the first week of the month itself to their accounts.
So it's reliable and secure.
It's reliable, it is secure, and at the same time you can say like it bring the transparency, the accountability, how the process being handled by the concerned people now, and also the convenience. People, they don't have to go to the block office or they don't have to go to the social welfare office to get the pension.
Well, transfer of information is considered as a basic requisite for determining the future activities of economic and social development of a particular region. Particularly the grassroots level administration needs such facilities, and sometimes, it's like catering only to the urban areas. But when we really look into the rural areas, so could you just highlight on some of the efforts that some leading e-governance institutions are promoting to cater to the rural areas in Meghalaya?
Actually, you can say like NIC is one of the leading e-governance institution in the country, where we promote about the rural areas activities, where you can say like right from the village level. Recently, we are collaborate with where we launched the online registration of the farmers. Actually, for the PM Kisan project, we need the farmers to onboard into the PM Kisan portal. So to get all the farmers in the state register, apply, and to create an ID for them, it takes some time for the department. By launching this PM, you can say farmers portal, where they can register online through this CSC. So it helps the government to get the various information from the villages in the state and to get these farmers to register in the PM port.
We'll hear more from you. As for now, Mr. Sarma from Guwahati, could you tell us some of the challenges sometimes that may come in the way while promoting e-governance?
The challenges are people oriented. As far as technology is concerned or the processes are concerned, these you can tackle. But unless you have set of people who are oriented towards service delivery, dedicated, and are ready to help out the citizens, you cannot successfully deliver these things. So as far as we are concerned, we have taken big step for providing the relevant training at the district level, at the tehsil level, and at the block level. Till now, we have trained about 17,000 government officials in last 5 years. So in addition to this training, the CSC operators, they also need to be briefed, because all services are not same, and this requires different interventions at different points of time. Assam happens to be the state where the services actually are going through digital service gateway. So in many times, the acknowledgements do not land in proper place and proper time. So there the CSC operators actually play a very key role in solving the local issues there. And till now, we have delivered about 2.1 million certificates successfully.
Well, Mr. Sarma, the point that you mentioned ignited another question, and that is, you mentioned about digital services. So how does it really correlate with the vision of Digital India?
Digital services actually form a pillar of the Digital India mission. It has 9 pillars. E-Kranti happens to be one pillar. So digital service delivery, integration of different platforms like mobile platform with electronic platforms, these all form part of the E-Kranti.
All right, let's also hear from Mr. Joyrimba.
Regarding the e-governance, there are 3 things that are the basic requirements for a successful e-governance to happen. The first thing is connectivity. Without connectivity, you cannot deliver the electronic format of
Very
e-governance.
important, yes.
Yeah, and most of the services that is being given to the citizens by the state carries some kind of fees. They need to pay some amount of fees for a service. Many of the services are although free. So when you do an online service, you need to have the banking facility in place to avail the services. So connectivity, banking, and the last is the digital literacy. For example, you have the connectivity, you have the banking services, you have the e-portals, but if the people are not digitally literate, then it is very, very difficult for you to implement e-governance in any part of the country. So these 3 are the basic fundamental things. And Regarding the challenges that we have, sensitization is very important. Capacity building is very important. You are issued a domicile certificate by the Deputy Commissioner, and this is being digitally signed through a DSE. At the end of the document, it will be printed like this is a computer-generated document, no need of signature. So people will definitely want to have your signature by ink and a seal. So sensitization is very, very important. And for making people to avail all the services, I feel that localization is very important. So for example, in the state of Manipur, we have the Manipuri script, the Meitei script, the English script. So I think the e-portals and the portals, the services that's being provided by the government should have this localization so that it is more accessible to all groups of people of the state.
Okay, so you've mentioned very good points, talking about the three important things, connectivity and banking also very, very important, because sometimes if everything is available and if there's no good connection, it's useless actually. And when it comes to literacy, digital literacy, that is I think we already discussed that there needs to be thorough training, because people need to get that awareness and really know how to use the portal system. All right, thank you so much. And yes, again back to our studios. We've heard so much about the advantages, right, about e-governance, and we know it's really doing well, and we look forward to even much more improvement on the e-governance platform. But let's quickly look at the disadvantages.
The disadvantages of the e-governance.
Yes.
Actually, if you look at the disadvantages of the e-governance, you can say like if we totally depend on the electronic platform, what happens sometimes when you want money to take it from the ATM, because of the connectivity or because of the power supply, you'll not be able to take out the money. So these are some of the disadvantages which we have. Like you can say in rural area, there's no power supply and no connectivity. For them to access it has become very difficult. So you can say like to make it fully digital in our country where the infrastructure is not in place. So it is very difficult. So a mixed mode, you can say, for certain areas where there's lacking of infrastructure. So we have to allow about the manual system. But side by side, we should promote about the e-governance, the reason behind it, the future of our country. You can say the entire nation will ride and depend on e-governance. Because every country in the world, their index is being measured through e-governance, whether it is SDG goal, Sustainable Development Goals. It depends on the e-governance. So the ranking of the country is depend on this. So all of us, we have to strive how to reach to that goal, get higher marks.
Imphal from Kohima.
I would just like to supplement what my friends had mentioned about the disadvantage. One is the apprehension on the right to privacy. There's so many issues coming up. People using social media, e-governance services, they feel, and also the linkage using Aadhaar. There's a lot of fear and apprehension, and also some instances in other countries of cybersecurity, hacking, and all those things are taking place actually. So people also need to be aware about cybersecurity, how to protect their information, how to change their passwords regularly. So all those, it's like cybersecurity is important, cyber hygiene is important. It's like you need to brush your teeth every day. Similarly, you need to clear your history, or maybe, you need to clear your cache. So
you need to be
such
smart.
kind of awareness, yes. Awareness need to be created among the people, among the citizens. And in addition to that, three main challenges I feel in successful implementation of e-governance in the country. One is that all the departments, they are adopting computerization, digitization without actual integration, in silos. Everyone is doing it independently, all departments. And also if you try to implement e-governance projects at a lower level, there's a lot of resistance because people don't like change. They are very comfortable working with the paper, file, and everything. When you give them a computer, it becomes very difficult for them. But similar case like the SBI computerization, which took place just few months. Similarly, if a mandate can come from the top, like maybe from the chief minister level, that from now on, we will use only computers or digital services. If such kind of mandate comes from the top, people have no change but to adapt to the new system. It's difficult to change people. But when you change the system, people have to adapt to the system.
Especially the
that's just an idea.
old school people, they feel more comfortable, rightly said, that they need to adapt and I think go with the trend. Well, enhancing the quality of life of the citizens through high quality education and healthcare, and we've also heard in the agriculture sector and other allied activities by promoting electronics and information technology, and above all by providing good e-governance. Well, the two parameters that are very, very important that we can just overview is effectiveness and efficiency of e-governance for it to run properly. And yes, what we also heard was about the privacy and confidentiality. And I would also like to add to that, what comes into play is being ethical and, integrity, isn't it? When all that is secure, I think everyone will feel secure, and I think they will not have any hindrance to go about doing anything online, when it comes to things that are going to be useful for them or beneficial for them. Can I talk to Mr. Joremba?
I just want to add a few points over here. So, for example, the concept of e-governance is slowly now fading away, and we are into an age where the mobile governance, or rather the M-governance, is taking shape. This is one thing that I would say that is an important challenge and an upheaval task that we have as far as the citizen is concerned, as well as the government is concerned. And another thing is that when you talk about service, it is something called as a QoS, the quality of service. Say, the quality of service has to be at the optimum level. So when you talk about privacy, you have a lot of QoS parameters. When you have about hacking, you have a set of QoS parameters. Even from the server side, or maybe the client side, maybe the mobile side, if you follow all the parameters that is being prescribed in the QoS list, then I feel that there are no disadvantages at all. But one big challenge that we have in the country and also in the Northeast, in Manipur, is, as my Nagaland friend has just mentioned, that the departments and the states are working in silos, that they're developing their own softwares and they're working on that software. And when you want to integrate with some other department, it becomes a big challenge. That is one big thing. But this is going to go away very soon, I suppose, because the government of India have come up with a plan called India Architecture, which is the India Enterprise Architecture. So it spells like INDEA. Instead of INDIA, it is INDEA. So India Enterprise Architecture. So if the whole states of the country follows this India architecture, then the flow of information, the flow of services between the states, between the departments, from the citizens to department to the government will be seamless. And I think this is one big step that the government of India has recently taken up.
Yes, and I think, we need that dynamicity, the dynamic nature of e-governance. Yes, you would like to say something?
Yeah, I would like to say something about this India architecture. Actually, we in Meghalaya, we are the first state in the country where the government of India, you can say like they have selected Meghalaya to be the pilot state for the implementation of the India architecture. And here in our state, we call it MEGEA, Meghalaya Enterprise Architecture. So the same thing, you can say like what my friend is saying, that through the framework, enterprise architecture framework exercise which we are doing now, we are building the e-governance. You can say integrate all these silos, like what my friend is saying, and bring a single window platform to the citizens for the e-services, rather than they are moving around and looking around for the information from various websites. But we will have all the services in one place. This is one part which you can say like we, from the enterprise architecture, how to integrate the various government departments. Because if you look about the government business, it links with finance, it links with planning, and also like the social welfare, the schemes, the programs, sometimes about the scholarship, the pension, it links with the rural development. So these are the things we have to look and how to integrate it. By doing this exercise, the government is saving time and effort, and at the same time we improve the system, and also that we provide better services to the people. And at the same time, with the help of the digital ID, then we will have, you can say, a single source of truth of the information, where if you go to apply a scheme, a program from the social welfare and a rural development, we will find that the information from a single source only, which is available, which is authentic. Like you can say Aadhaar is one of the platforms which we can leverage for the digital ID in the state.
What about the departments which are still using manual process? As part of India enterprise architecture, are you also computerizing and maybe doing some business process reengineering of those departments which are completely manual?
Actually, when we are looking to the department, we are looking not only about the processes which is already in place, you say computerized or maybe hybrid, but we are looking also the manual process which they have, and we study them, and accordingly we prioritize. If they are the department which the citizens, they are heavily engaged with them, so we take a priority how to make their business reforms or business re-engineering to bring them on board into the digital platform.
Well, e-governance is something, like I mentioned earlier, that is of a dynamic nature. And, it needs periodic revisiting. It's not like we should just be happy and, cool about it. But it needs revisiting on the ongoing policies and strategies that should be, that should keep on changing with the requirements and with the coming days. In particular, a need has been felt actually to dovetail the state e-governance model with, we can't just do without, I think there is a correlation there with the Digital India's program and initiative of the Government of India with the vision to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. Well, in this regard, let's, I think, wrap up this evening's discussion with one last question that we can dwell on. Can e-governance really transform the Northeast region? And let's hear from Imphal.
Yes, definitely. If you look into the geographical nature of the Northeast and especially Manipur, where you have the valleys and the plains, the mountains regions, inaccessible regions, e-governance can play a very big role in bringing up the lives of the people of the state.
And, just to add on, Arunachal Pradesh is considered as a frontline state in the country for implementation of e-governance projects. So can any one of you among the panelists, just comment on this? How is Arunachal Pradesh on the front line?
A question in return. What actually are you trying to imply by saying front line?
Projects, when it comes to projects, e-governance projects.
Okay. If I may say e-governance is basically bringing the citizen or the people closer to the government. Arunachal is a big state, I think the biggest in the Northeast. And population is very sparse. It's probably 6-7 hamlets, making a sustainable situation in some place where services are to be offered. So bringing an office closer to them is a Herculean task. But e-governance provides you the solution, digitally approaching them, making them come nearer to the government schemes and things like that. But here, while dwelling on these issues, I would like to point out on one particular issue. My friends from Meghalaya and Manipur mentioned about silos being created and integration of these silos through the India enterprise architecture. I would like to add to it that we must ensure interoperability of the data that we have generated by providing service through a department should be reusable for another one. So the back-end processes can be streamlined and portability is to be ensured so that we are not restricted by devices and technology and things like that. What is current today may not be current tomorrow. It will all get obsolete. So I think these are some of the issues we need to highlight.
Thank you for pointing out those issues. All right, Mr. Kikon, can you quickly tell us?
Yes, I feel that there's a growing mistrust between the younger generation, the public, and the government. people are becoming very apprehensive of the government. So I think e-governance is the only solution which can bridge this mistrust and bring people and government closer together and ultimately bring about development in the entire Northeast. And I think we all believe that with e-governance, the Northeast can really open up the gateway to Southeast Asia.
So that could be the bridge. All right, Mr. Dakar, one last word from you regarding the transformation.
E-governance is, if you look, the implementation of the Northeast. All the Northeastern states, they well in this regard. And most of the activity which we are doing it, we are looking ahead how we can provide better services to the citizen, to the common man. We are looking from that angle only how we can benefit him. Not only that to improve the government process, but we make it, you can say, like...
Not just to make it easy, but easy for the people
to access.
All right. And so, listeners, with that, we've come to the end of the discussion on e-governance in the Northeast. And, we had a very interesting discussion and the points were all well taken. We have unveiled the importance and benefits of the implementation of e-governance for the smooth functioning of the different states. As quoted by Dana Parino, good governance, safety, a chance to grow economically and professionally, those are the important things, unquote. So let us strive towards the betterment of healthy Northeast in particular, and yes, of course, a healthy India. This program was produced by Ajay Gangte, Program Executive. We thank all our panelists this evening, and I would also like to thank the engineers on duty, Mr. Larry Wajri and Mr. Shushish Chowdhury. This program was a presentation of the Northeastern Service of All India Radio, Shillong. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.